In fact, Wing Commander Sahai, this is what I've picked up from my sources who were basically present at the Dubai Air Show, and they're essentially indicating that the Tejas was basically carrying out what is known as the high G split S maneuver that was being carried out at a low altitude, and that's when it seems that they've lost control of the aircraft. It does indicate at this point in time that, the engine could have stalled. Now, that's a preliminary assessment. And also, of course, one cannot take away the fact that there could be a possible technical glitch as far as the fly-by-wire system is concerned.
Yes, you are very right, because the video which we are getting, it is very apparent that the aircraft was carrying out that maneuver. He was doing a roll and pitch also, and at the time when he was coming close to the aircraft, close to the ground, his speed is quite fast because he is in the process of that maneuver. And at that time when he should have changed the attitude of the aircraft, nose up position, to pull up the aircraft, that time probably something serious has happened and he has lost control of the aircraft and the aircraft has crashed onto the ground without giving any time to the pilot for ejection. That is a serious cause of concern, because whatever has happened, it has happened very low, at very low level, and where the pilot was not having time for ejection. Yes.
Wing Commander, if I can also ask you with regards to the fact that a lot has been spoken about Tejas all this while. There have been a section within the Air Force itself having their own reservations with regards to the Tejas. For the benefit of our viewers, one, what we have really achieved with the Tejas itself, and what remains the challenges. Of course, given the fact that there are questions that were basically raised about the GE engines that have been used by Tejas, and do you believe that in the humid conditions that it was basically operating, that could also be one of the reasons, one of the factors that will be looked into?
The atmospheric conditions, I do not think that would be the contributing factor to this. But I'm very sure that the technical viability of the engine, technical viability of the avionics of Tejas will be definitely probed thoroughly. Because last year when the Tejas had crashed, after 3 months of inquiry, it was found that the cause of accident was the engine seizure. And there the seizure was at a time when the pilot had time to eject and he survived. But this time, during the maneuver, when the aircraft is so low to the ground, the aircraft has lost control. So something serious has happened very close to the ground, and it is very obvious by the video. And it is definitely a serious dent to the reputation of HAL, as well as a serious cause of concern for the Indian Air Force, because our squadron is having very depleting strength of 32 squadrons now, 29 squadrons now, whereas we require minimum 42 squadrons to have two-front battles. In fact, there are talks that 42 squadrons are also not sufficient. There is a possibility that the minimum required squadrons would be close to 48 squadrons. So in this situation, when MiG-21s were grounded, there was a big gap. Suddenly, we have to fill this gap. And we were depending heavily on Tejas, and the production line was decked up at that level, so that as soon as possible, we can induct as many as Tejas as possible in our squadrons. But these two accidents will definitely raise questions, and there will be thorough code of inquiry. We will have to look into it, what has really gone wrong, and do we will have a very thorough relook on our status, what is required to be done to increase the strength of the Indian Air Force, because Tejas, we were making so much of hype. It is supposed to be 4.5 generation fighter aircraft. It is supposed to have the latest avionics. We have put in so much effort to make it modern. We have given it the latest EW suite, the ISA radar. All systems are latest. We have tried to make this aircraft a very potent fighter. And if continuously in 2 years, 2 engine failure, if this is also an engine failure in that case, if there are 2 crashes due to engine or technical failure in 2 years consecutively, it is definitely a serious dent to the reputation of HAL and a serious matter of concern for the Indian Air Force. Yes.
Well, in fact,